let's see how I think we're live. Are we live?
We are live.
Look at us go.
All right, the
pre-show is live.
Pre-show.
Right. Okay.
So we can still just chat about whatever we want to chat about.
I see your dad's here, Sarah.
Yes.
He's a faithful attender.
Hi,
Pete.
He puts it in his calendar every week, he says. He often is working as we're talking. Can you guys say something? I'm not sure if your guys' audio is being captured.
I'm saying something.
Okay, you are.
I'm saying something.
You guys are both just being really quiet today. Usually there's like a little bit of, background noise coming through. And so because I have I can see the audio levels. I've got the soundboard.
The soundboard, the mix board.
Yeah, and when you see the mix when there's no lights going or anything, it's a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I'm just thinking I should probably close my office door.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Dave, is your door closed?
So that my Rosie doesn't come in, because my Rosie likes to come and.
Oh, we should have a visit from your Rosie though. Both Rosies.
We have dueling Rosies.
My dad says week 10 from working at home. Yeah, I was trying to calculate. I have in my Google and I just start typing in what day is or how many days since, and it auto fills in whatever date was the first day that quarantine started.
Right.
We are my dad's social interaction. I should also say hi to Annika. Hello, Annika. Another faithful viewer. Annika.
Oh, go ahead.
Annika and I have been slowly upgrading so Annika, if anyone's watching, though I think it's just the four of us.
If anyone's watching.
If anyone's watching if anyone's watching who doesn't know that Annika helps me film Kids Church, Annika helps me film all of our Kids Church videos, and we've been slowly upgrading. And I actually am going to go grab it because this seems like the perfect thing to show during a pre-show. We made a teleprompter.
Oh, yeah.
Teleprompter. Wow.
Sarah's been so proud of this. I'm excited to see it. I think I'm going to start all our live streams now with if anyone's watching.
Yeah, that's a good opening line.
If anyone's watching. Oh, man. I think I'm going to start all our live streams. Yeah. What's the... Oh, Sarah, you got it. Sarah, there's a thing in front of my face.
I put my headphones down and it was pressing the shift key. And I don't know if that's something that you have on Mac, Dave, but if you press shift key 5 times in a row, it thinks that you're trying to enable an accessible filter or something.
Right.
Anyway, so this is my teleprompter. It may look like a 3-ring binder, but you open it up and briefly remove the screen. And there's arms that fold down. Let me just set it up because this is a 2-hand job.
This is like a homeschool project. See, these are the kinds of things we would do with homeschool, for science or...
These are things that Sarah does for fun on a Friday evening.
Well, there you go. You're a homeschooler at heart.
So this is actually a piece of glass here.
Oh.
And the idea is that I've got my phone. This isn't ideal lighting, but you guys can see the phone's reflection.
Yeah.
I can't see it. I can see you guys perfectly. You guys can see your reflection. So we actually have a black drape that drapes over this. The camera sits here, the black drapes over, and so it, for me, looks a lot more, and that's how clear it is. It is so clear when I'm filming. And so I just bought a really cheap, the smallest computer monitor I've ever bought. It's 10 inches.
That is
It's still got the protective, but it sits right here, plugs into my computer. It's not on right now, but I can just read my Kids Church script while looking directly into the camera. And Annika, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it cut filming time in half. We finished filming 2 videos
Hey, yeah.
in less time that it was previously taking us to film one video.
Innovation. I like it.
So that was really exciting.
That's the kind of talk that would get your supervisor thrilled.
Yeah, right? Productivity increased.
Productivity.
So,
Good stuff.
and my favorite part about it is just the fact that it folds up into 3-ring binder shape, so that for transportability,
That's right. You
I
can
just
take it
fold
on the
it up.
road.
Take it on the road, exactly. Where to put this that my cats aren't going to destroy it.
So how long ago were you saying that quarantine started? Was it 10 weeks now?
My dad said he's been working from home for 10 weeks.
10 weeks. Wow.
So Sunday was our 10th live stream service.
Okay, so 10 weeks. So that means, and this is quite a milestone for me, I have not been at the Giesbricks for 10 weeks.
Wow.
So I'll be interested, Annika, to hear how things are going with some of the routines we've set up. If they're still going.
So my kind of like quarantine or whatever started since, so if I type in my phone how many, I get how many days since March 13th. And that's the Google result that I search a lot. 68 days.
I remember when it started because I had just arrived in Kamloops.
Oh yeah, for a trampoline.
A friend and I, my friend's the trampoline technical director for Gymnastics BC, and her and I had just arrived in Kamloops. They were starting a 3-day competition the next morning, and we had arrived to do all the results, and we got word from Gymnastics BC, halt.
Oh no.
You cannot hold the competition.
Oh yeah.
We were there. Everything, the organizing committee had everything set up. We were expecting, 220 athletes from around the province, and then the plug got pulled. So, and it was due to snow on the Coquihalla the next day.
Oh man.
So we packed up. Fortunately, we'd taken everything out of my vehicle, but we hadn't set up all the computers yet. And we booted it back down to the coast.
That's crazy. Yeah, actually, just you saying that, like, it feels like a lifetime ago, but the day, that everything kind of was announced, I was actually at a dance competition. And, we're all getting the information, like, we were in the evening, we're an adult team, and so, our dance is later on in the evening. But, like, they started, not letting the audience, like they stopped. If you hadn't bought a ticket yet to be in the audience, you weren't allowed to come in. And half of our team wasn't there because people were just trying to figure out what does this mean, like literally like breaking news. And the very next day they decided to continue doing the dance competition, but like only one team would be allowed in the gymnasium at a time. Right. And that's so different for dance because like so much is the like audience participation and just the energy in the room. And so, man, I completely forgot about that. And that was the first, that was like a Wednesday night, and it was kind of like, what does this even mean? Like,
we had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. If I could only go back and tell that Sarah, because we were, as a team, we were like, well, maybe things will just get postponed, they'll just like put off doing the awards ceremony or whatever, and it's like, nope. Good morning, Kim. My dad is pointing out, I like that I also haven't moved my kitty litter. But that's nicely behind me. That is not a new table, Dad, but I guess I have a different camera angle. I don't know. The comment section is riveting.
We're past 11 now, so this is pre-show is over. This is show.
This is show.
We started the show with kitty litter.
With kitty litter, great.
So
It's a great. If any of you guys haven't I mean, I don't know anything. I have 3 cats. That does not make me a kitty litter expert, but I have a lot of experience with it. We, within the last couple months, made the switch to pine pellets.
Ah.
And it's been amazing. Doesn't smell bad. So easy to take care of. And is so cheap. A bag, like a giant bag like that is like, what, $8?
Oh. I'll have to tell Paul. He's in charge of kitty litter.
We really, like, I've heard that some cats don't like the pellets, but our cats are easygoing, I guess. But they love it. Anyways, how's your Rosie, Carolyn? How old is Rosie now?
She's going to be 1 next month on June, I think. Oh, see, it's bad. I don't know her birthday. But with dogs, you're not required to actually know their birthday like you are with kids. I think it's the 6th of June. She'll be 1.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we're talking about a dog.
Yeah, she's a dog. My Rosie is a dog.
That's exciting. Still very much like puppy mode, though. Is she? How long
Yes.
How long will she grow for?
Dogs kind of. Well, she probably won't grow a lot more. She'll probably fill out a little bit, but like about 6 months to about 3 is their teenage years.
Oh, okay.
For dogs. And she's part Aussie, part Husky, so she's an active breed, so she needs her runs every single day.
I wondered why I thought she was so cute. My favorite, grew up, the camp that I grew up going to, they always had Australian Shepherds for like camp dogs.
Okay,
and just fell in love with that.
Oh yeah, they love people.
Carolyn, you're getting comments on your cool gamer chair.
My gamer chair, yes. I bought myself a new office chair because I spent so much time in it, and I thought, how am I going to buy a chair online when I can't go test it out? Like, it has to be comfortable. And I thought, well, a gamer chair. So I went and looked at gaming chair reviews because I know gamers, when they get into their games, they're sitting a long time. And then I found this one that not only had good reviews, but was pink. And I thought, that's my chair.
And has it been a good purchase?
Oh, it's been awesome.
Oh, awesome. Dave, what chair are you sitting in?
Like, these chairs?
Is it this chair?
The ones that everyone has?
Yeah, this chair.
Yeah, totally.
This is a chair for my cat.
I put a pillow behind me because I'm an old man now, and they have no lumbar support.
No, they don't.
Like
gamer chairs do.
I feel like it makes me hunch. Like the chair forces me to hunch.
Yeah.
So.
This chair. One day, John and I had just gotten married and were like living in our first basement suite, on the island. And I was walking to Starbucks one day, which is where I worked, and this chair was on the side of the road. And so I went to work my shift, walked home. Chair was still on the side of the road, so I jumped in our car and hauled. It's hard to get rolling office chairs into little. I can't remember what we were driving at the time, but I just remember the struggle was real. Trying to get, but we've had it now we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary. So the side of the road chair has lasted us well.
Good deal. Well, we have a parking cul-de-sac thing across from our house, and it has a green space, and people like to leave things there because they think there's a magic fairy that comes and picks all this stuff up. And so last week a couch appeared out there. So Liam was eyeing it, and he was like, oh, maybe I should put that in the back of my truck. And then I can drive my truck to young adult events, and it can be my social distancing couch. I can sit up in the back of my couch, my truck, and the couch. But then it rained before they took action, so.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
That would have been.
Now it's just a wet couch sitting out in the cul-de-sac.
That would have been so good. Just having a couch in the back of the truck, no matter where you go, just.
You're right. You can just hang out.
That's great.
So I had when we moved into our house, I brought with me like a proper swivel chair, but we didn't have. I was done school and so had an office at work, so I never worked at home. So I never used the chair, so it went in a closet. And finally one day, I listened to like one podcast about like minimalism or something. And one day I went, you know how sometimes you just like, you'd go on like a tear of just like getting rid of junk in your house. So I was like, no, we have too much stuff. It's stressing me out. So I started like chucking stuff in our dumpster, and I chucked the swivel chair. I took it out of the closet. I was like, look at how much space it like freed up in our closet. And Justine was like, no, you can't throw away the swivel chair. That's a perfectly good chair. And I was like, no, it's going. And so it was a little bit of a disagreement. Anyways, I tossed it. And now I work from home.
I was gonna say, yeah, and now you regret that every day.
And I'm sitting on this stupid wooden kitchen chair.
So the moral of the story is what?
I'd rather not say.
Listen to the wife.
I really like Alicia's comment here. Alicia says, one time I sat in a couch in the back of a truck as it drove 4x4 up a mountain.
Oh, yeah, the good old days.
It was a top-notch life experience. I was trying to explain to the girls that I nanny the differences between like key life moments and accomplishments, and how like, you know, a key life, like they're learning about writing like biographies and stuff, and so like how a key life moment is like a formative time, like something that influences your life. Alicia, that sounds like a key life moment, riding 4x4 in the back of a truck on a couch.
Hey, should we?
Yeah, should we start?
I mean, everyone who's here, well, I think everyone knows what's going on, but just in case you don't, hello, my name's Dave. This is virtual.
Sorry, that just reminds me. I have to change. Right now, Carolyn is labeled as Dave Navarro.
And so am I.
And so are you.
There you go.
So we are... So we're coming at you on the live stream channel of South Langley Church. And so if you're watching us live, great. If you're watching this back later, I'm glad you're watching it. So good to see you. And yeah, I'm the lead pastor at South Langley Church. On my, I guess, right side, we have...
Oh, me? Yeah. I am Sarah. I'm the director of kids at South Langley Church. And I don't know what I'm doing. And my keyboard isn't working.
Cool.
That's always fun.
And Carolyn, who are you?
I'm Carolyn. I attend South Langley Church. I sit usually in the second to back row.
Where have you been sitting since we went virtual?
Oh, in my lazy boy chair in my living room.
Better.
My chair. It's my chair. Everyone in the family knows that. That's where I sit. And so I think I was trying to remember, like, how long have we been at South Langley? I think it's like 5 or 6 years now. It definitely feels like home now. So that's a great thing.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for joining us. So, Sarah, is this a good time to share how people can participate?
I mean, go for it.
Is your computer still broken?
Look,
we have the YouTube chat.
Yeah. So just say it.
That, and then, do we have the slide with the text number?
Not right now.
Okay. So, there's also a text number if you want to text in. Here, I'll read the number out once.
I'm just gonna try replugging in my keyboard. You know, if it doesn't work, unplug and plug back in. Maybe.
I'm gonna do a whole stream with no keyboard.
Okay. We can do it.
If you want to interact, but the YouTube chat isn't working for you, then you can text 604-449-8638, and those comments, other people won't be able to see them, but I can read them out on the air. So 604-449-8638. Sarah has disappeared, possibly under the desk.
She's hiding under her desk.
Okay, you ready for an icebreaker?
Let's go.
Yeah, I am ready for an icebreaker.
Who said that? Thanks for saying that.
Voice from the deep.
Okay. So if you're so every week we read out one of these table topics and we just chat about it for a bit. Later we'll talk about Sunday's teaching time, but we always start with this. And so whatever question this is, those of us who are on screen will answer it. We'd love to hear your answers as well. So again, you can text them in or drop them in the YouTube chat and we'll call them out on the air. So I'm gonna randomly choose one of these. Okay, here we go. Oh no.
Did you pick a good one, Dave?
What 3 words would you use to describe yourself?
Oh. Three words. A little crazy.
I hate these. It's like, how can you...
Oh, I see you in for... I get it. You guys don't want to know what I'm doing right now.
We don't?
I am copy and pasting into my search board on-screen keyboard because my keyboard just isn't working. But I can't type into my settings, so I'm copying and pasting letters. Anyways.
Is on-screen keyboard a thing?
Yeah, for accessibility needs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good thinking. Okay. Three
words.
Well, these aren't words that actually describe me, but it's kind of a family motto on my side of the family. And my mom used to always say it. Well, she still does, and we now say it, and we say it to our kids, is, you know, when people get talking about, oh, well, you know, they talk about normal. We all talk about normal, and for whatever reason, we all try to be normal. And our little family motto is, well, why be normal?
That's pretty good. And it's 3.
That's 3 words. Why be normal?
Why be normal? Yeah. That's good. I want to do a different question.
Okay.
Guys, look, if you look on the YouTube, I got the on-screen keyword up. Okay, now I'm moving it over here.
Now
Oh.
Okay, wait. Will this work? It works, guys. I can change the slides with the on-screen keyboard.
Do you have to click it with your mouse?
Yeah. But we have on our streaming program, so we use Slobs or I don't know what Slobs, Stream Live, I don't know, I can't remember what Slob stands for, Open Broadcast Software. You can set your hotkeys, and so we were like, brilliant, we'll set our hotkeys to the arrow keys on the keyboard, but the keyboard doesn't work, so how do you advance the slides? On-screen keyboard. How do you pull up the on-screen keyboard? You carefully copy and paste letters from the YouTube chat into your search bar. But I got it. And now I should be able to also add Carolyn's name.
So 3 words to describe Sarah would be improvise, adapt, overcome.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That is
3 good ones.
That is me.
Yeah, I'm pulling a different one out.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh. Are life experiences meant to be, or are we in charge of our own destiny?
Wow.
Okay.
Life experiences. Well, we are not in charge of our own destiny. If I was in charge of my own destiny, I'd be in big, big trouble.
Got 1 vote for no. Oh, man. That's
random. Okay. You think, Dave? I was just gonna say random update. On-screen keyboard comes with feedback clicks, so I think I've turned off the like, you know, like how when you're like typing on your screen and you can have it like set to like haptic feedback and with like sound.
Oh,
Turns out Windows on-screen keyboard does the same thing, but I think I've turned the sound off. So Hopefully,
Excellent.
hopefully people won't hear me typing at home. Anyways.
Kim says it's yes and no. There's I have a book called Four Views on Divine Providence. It's a really smart series of books where they'll take a deep theological issue and they have like four different theologians representing four views, all presenting their views, so you get like a cross section of the different views, and then they get to like respond to each other. I didn't read the book, but I have it.
Well, excellent.
But this is one of the, for this is a question that if you're not from a faith background, it's kind of this wide open question. From within a faith background, it becomes more narrow and perhaps harder because we have certain fixed points, right?
Yeah.
And some points that are tricky. So I don't know that we're not gonna settle it for sure, like forever on virtual coffee time.
No.
My personal view, and there's within our denomination there would be a variety of views. My position would be that God has the power to direct any circumstances and to exert control, or some people would say sovereignty over any circumstance, and does at times, but that his main mode of being would be to limit his direct control and invite us to participate with him, and part of that is part of the reason for that is that real love requires choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us to be people who can be in a love relationship with God, that is not real if we're programmed automatons, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's along the lines of what you would call an Arminian position on God's sovereignty or God's providence. So there you go. Just got really heavy.
I was gonna say this was the most boring.
The most boring.
No, the most boring. Icebreaker topic.
Somebody disagree with me. Someone fight me. I don't know. Sarah, what do you think?
I'll be honest. I was focused on the keyboard. What was the question again? It was
are our life events meant to be, or are we in charge of our own destiny?
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna default to the chat here. Kim says there's an old song about hornets and how God doesn't force us but makes us willing to go. I don't know that song. Man, okay. I think I definitely agree with you, Dave. I think we have free will. I think we can, make choices. It's not all pre-programmed. But I think I try to also submit to to God's will and oh, okay. Great direction, Alicia. I think I can I can influence my destiny. I don't think it's pre-set out, but I actually don't want to have as much influence on my own destiny as maybe God allows me to. Because I'm on Carolyn's side as well. If if I'm have my hands on the steering wheel, then
Things seem to go wrong.
it's gonna turn out bad.
And I think even like the other piece is, even as we, perhaps hold this or that theological position, there's also like our experience to to bring into it, where there's I think we all have those experiences where things seem to be under some kind of guidance, beyond just what's going on here materially, right?
Yeah. Well, like I even had something just like click in this last week, where I was like looking back on something that happened a long time ago, and I thought I had like fully processed the event and like understood it kind of like from all angles. And all of a sudden, just this weekend, it was like as I was like reading Sermon on the Mount, just like some other things clicked, and it was all of a sudden like in the movies, like when there's like either like Easter eggs planted throughout, or like you all of a sudden like flash back to all these different like clips and like see how they've actually been like teasing this whole time,
right?
And it's like, okay, like that, like it's those moments like where it's like, wow, that was a God thing, where like it's taken years to get, like for me it was like like a realization of something that happened when I was like in grade 7, and like it's like, oh, thanks for planning that out that way, God. Right. I made choices along the way that got me to this point, but like when I look back on it, it's like undeniably like God had put the pieces in place.
Yeah. And there's this thread in the tapestry of your life, and you didn't know that the thread, ran through in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alicia's got this thing, thoughts about the characters in a story or actors in a play metaphor. I think that goes back to Calvin, and so maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right.
So I think the idea there is that we're all that there's kind of this preset script, and we're all acting out this long play that is all written, that is all preset, and that the ultimate goal of it is the glory of God.
At 2022, I could have told you exactly what I believed and how it worked, and I could have argued with you and defended it and all those things, and now at 51, it's interesting because I'm absolutely sure about a lot less things than I was, and part of that I think is life experience, and you begin to I've come to realize there's so much. We think that we see reality.
Yeah.
And so many times we don't. We see our interpretation and we call that reality, but is that really the reality? And the things that I hold like as absolute are far less. But I think I would hold those stronger. And the things that I, clung to, I'm now like, okay, well, yeah, I can see your point of view. Like it's that realizing. Well, you talked about we did the sermon series on, I think it was in the biblical interpretation one that you did, how to read your Bible, where we have the different things, and some things are, yes, this is a core belief, and we can't. It's pretty hard to stand together if we can't agree on the core belief, right? Like, okay, Jesus was God. That's a core belief. But there's so many other things that I would have called core beliefs in my youth that I don't now.
Yeah.
So I think that's...
Yeah.
Look at you remembering a 3-year-old sermon.
Crazy that it was 3 years ago.
Oh man.
Was it 3 years ago? Well, there you go.
It was the end of 2017. So
Okay,
2.5.
well, there you go.
As you're sharing, Carolyn, I'm kind of like reminded. I can't find the quote, and I can't type on Google that easily. I tried, but like something along the lines of like the difference between like an amateur and like like and a master or something, like is like at one level like you think you know everything, and then at some level like and then like you get to the next level and like you realize that like you know a little bit, but there's still so much more to learn, and then like the highest level you're like you realize that you just don't know anything at all.
Right, yeah.
Like you've barely skimmed the surface, like even though like you would be considered an expert, like you have actually like you the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
we should keep moving, right?
Okay. Well, I was. Is that a good? Is that a good segue? Into.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, it is.
What are you reading, Dave? Dave always has this like you can tell when Dave's multitasking.
Yeah. No. Let's move on. So, Carolyn, we were actually going to check in with you about how this experience has been. You know, this kind of quarantine time as someone who's got an immune condition.
Yeah.
I think most people I'm seeing in the chat know, but maybe just sort of tell us what you're going through and how that makes this a unique time for you.
Sure. So just as a sort of background, so I was diagnosed 12 and a half years ago now with rheumatoid arthritis. And just to be clear, rheumatoid arthritis is not the arthritis that your grandma has or your grandpa. Probably. I mean, they might have rheumatoid arthritis, but most arthritis is not. It's rheumatoid arthritis is an immune condition. So what happens is your immune system thinks that the lining in your joints is actually germs. And so it attacks it. And so it causes joint erosion, chronic pain. The inflammation is usually system-wide. So it causes fatigue because it's like you have the flu all the time. So you have that heavy load. 20 years ago, my diagnosis would mean that I would be in a wheelchair probably right now. And I'm not, and that is some incredible medical research and medications that go on. And so I'm on medication to essentially suppress my immune system so it will stop attacking my body, which makes it a little tricky when there's a worldwide pandemic. So I'm in one of those categories of people that you hear about that, we need to protect. So we talk about the elders in our community and then people with underlying health conditions and immune suppression. So I'm immunocompromised. So I have been at home through this whole pandemic. So haven't been seeing anyone, haven't been going out shopping, none of those things. Paul runs all the errands in the house. And I've had my times when it's been burdensome, like all of us, where it's, how can we continue to live like this? I will probably be very limited in who I can interact with until there is a vaccine. That's just the reality. So trying to wrap my head around that. But for the most part, been doing well, have friends that get it, have family that get it. And my oldest son and daughter-in-law and grandbaby who don't live with us, so I haven't seen them since all this started. They've also been very careful about their interactions because they know if they want to have any interaction with me, they have to be careful. And so they were able to come this weekend, which was a huge blessing to me.
Yeah.
Just to see them and to hold little baby Rory. And so they are our, they're talking about our expanded circle. They are now part of my expanded circle, and they will probably be it for quite a while. But God is being good. He's kept me healthy. He's kept me safe. And the other 3 people that live in my household, because I've had this condition for so long, are very well versed in, if they have any sort of symptoms of illness, they know the routine. You know, they have to stay away from me. They have to not touch clean dishes. They have to sanitize. So those kinds of things are probably less, we probably notice them less in our family because we're used to doing those every flu season.
Right, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you were like in that way positioned for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
In that sense, I was positioned for this, and have been in regular contact with my specialist and my medical team, and you know, just even on little things, I'm supposed to have, because the medications, some of them are really strong, and so I'm supposed to have monthly blood work done to make sure my liver's handling it, to make sure my kidneys are handling it. And actually the specialists have that on hold right now, because the last year, really, I've had no flares, which is, I mean, that's miraculous in my situation. And so we don't want to upset the balance. So
Right.
they've actually said, right now, we don't want you going for your monthly blood work unless you feel something is going on. Just hold off. They feel there's too much risk right now for me to do that.
Have you like been able to, like, are you able to, you said that your husband's like running errands and stuff. Are you still able to like go out for like walks and
Yes,
get out
I
safely
mean,
that way?
Outside is so much safer for all of us. Dr. Bonnie Henry, right? Big spaces.
Yeah.
Outside. I've found her, I watch her briefing every time she briefs. For whatever, she just, to me, she's a calming presence. Because of course, when this all started, it was, I mean, I was scared, you know, and but you know, it's been so helpful, and just the way she's educating everyone, and as I watch kind of everyone in BC go through this, I'm amazed at how many people are taking this seriously and are not putting people like myself or elders or other people with conditions at risk. Like it's an amazing thing when you see what's gone on in other parts of the world. So thank you to everyone that's following the guidelines.
I really appreciate her also like willingness to answer questions that like may seem, you know, like maybe not as important.
Right. Yeah. She's incredibly gracious.
Yeah. Like
a good example of graciousness.
For some of my friends, you know, like she recently talked about like how now that we're in phase 2, like what does dating look like?
Right.
And you know, like, and she actually has put out like a great, like she had a great answer for that. And on some, like I was on Reddit the other day, and like her answer to like how to date during like this pandemic like was actually like on Reddit, like as like people around the world were like looking to this as like, oh, okay, this is like a, you know, like depending on where your country is at, like you still have to follow those guidelines, but like here's what one person is saying. But like I just appreciated that she was willing to like answer that question, because for some people that is
right, that's a big issue.
That's a reality. I've got, you know, a close friend who like has been dating somebody for like 6 months now, and they've been, you know, not like, they've been doing like social distance walks and stuff like since this all started. But it's like, it would be really like they're like, it would be really nice even just to hold hands at this point. Right. And I'm like,
yes, we need a little update maybe next week.
Yeah.
We have one of our pastors that that has shared that he's walking this experience. Maybe he can provide some guidelines for other people.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe if he was in the comments right now.
Yeah. Well, I saw earlier he heard us talking about cats, and he was out of here. So I don't know. He might have left.
Oh man, that guy. Well, babe, should we get on to our other questions?
Yes.
Oh, Alicia's calling for an update as well.
This is
And of course, Brian missed it.
Brian.
It's okay, Brian. You're just signed up to be on Coffee Time next week, and we'll just we're interview you
for dating advice and update during a pandemic from you for next week. Well, I figure he puts you on the spot, Dave. I'm just, getting him back for you.
That's so nice.
I'm just tickled that we're on a Zoom call and Brian missed what we were talking about.
He was reading.
Man.
What was the thing, Sarah, yesterday that Brian missed in our Zoom call?
Oh, what was it? Oh, I don't know, but what was it? But anyways, Dave made a suggestion, like, oh, well, maybe you can try this, Adam, and, like, see how that goes. And then Brian literally, like, without meaning a beat, like, 5 seconds later was like, yeah, and Adam, like, you should try this, almost word for word.
Exact same thing.
Like, almost word for word said the exact same thing that Dave had.
Brian's got too many tabs open.
Like, so many, like...
Yes, too many tabs.
So close that it could have actually been, like, a Brian joke. Because, like, sometimes, Brian will joke like that he wasn't paying attention, but was completely serious. And
sorry, Brian, we're just calling you out on the air.
I loved it.
Okay, so we're talking Beatitudes, yeah? So Sunday we were talking about blessed are the poor in spirit, or blessed are the spiritually poor. Blessed are the poor at being spiritual, even, and so talked about how in Luke Jesus speaks the same beatitude, but he doesn't say poor in spirit. He just says poor, and talked a little bit about how, actually, like we were talking about on last week's Coffee Time, we have this kind of binary thinking. Like if you're poor, like, are we talking about an economic or a spiritual reality? Well, they're connected. They're like intertwined, and so in any case, it's kind of the people who have nothing to bring to the table. They come to the kingdom of God with empty hands, and all they can do is receive. And Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is yours. Talked a bit about the other Jesus ben Sira, who is another rabbi who also taught in Beatitudes, and he taught advantage is advantage, which is kind of, advantage is advantage, more is more. That's the way that we human beings think now. That's the way that that they were thinking back in Jesus' time as well. But Jesus here is actually kind of saying that disadvantage is an advantage. And so, talked about how we, there's almost like a cleansing, like we're less distracted. We're more able to cling to Jesus when we don't have our wealth to cling to and our wealth to depend on. And maybe that's wealth in our pockets. Maybe it's wealth, whatever spiritual wealth. Maybe we can talk about what that looks like. So that's what we talked about, and then we left with some reflection questions. The first being, describe your own spiritual zero moment. What did it feel like? And if it was in the past, how do you see it now? That's super personal.
So the first thing, there's one of my favorite psalms, and it's not like a actually favorite psalm. It's like one that kind of like makes me laugh. I think it's Psalm 22, and it says something. Oh, I should just look it up. It says something about.
Can you type?
I can type on my on-screen keyboard.
All right.
Psalm 20. It says something about life being poured out, feeling like melted wax, and it always reminds me of like Bilbo Baggins, or maybe Bilbo Baggins reminds me of the psalm. But like when he's like, I feel like butter spread out over too much bread. Psalm 22. My life. So Psalm 22:14. My life is poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax melting within me. when I read that, I'm always like, okay, like David, like a little bit of being dramatic here. But I imagine that sometimes when I feel like a spiritual zero, that's how I feel. Like my insides are wax melting inside of me.
Oh, I lost you guys for a sec.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Dave.
It's okay. Oh, we're good. I didn't miss anything. Your insides are like wax.
My insides are like wax.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just get, you know, as a, you know, an oldest child of two oldest children, and yeah, I like. I think it's.
Oh, by the way,
much...
that's me too.
Oh my goodness. Like, I just get frustrated if I can't bring something to the table. I'm so frustrated, and I almost don't know how to engage. And I have had a couple of moments like that, you know, where I didn't have the answer, I didn't have the path forward, within my spiritual journey, and you know, it's just incredibly frustrating, and you know, probably not at my best in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I was actually thinking about this question, and I came up with a few different times, but the one I was really thinking about, because the sort of anniversary of it was just last week, was a spiritual zero moment 10 years ago, and I got a call from my best friend's husband saying, "Oh, Doris is being rushed to the hospital. She's having a hard time breathing. They've rushed her into surgery. They don't know if she's going to make it. Can you come to Surrey Memorial Hospital?" And so I told the kids, I'm leaving, I'm going to the hospital, jumped in the car, went down there. That was like at 8 a.m. in the morning. And by 1, we were back at her house telling her 3 young children. I think Nathaniel, the youngest, was 8 at the time, that mom wasn't ever coming home because they had lost her on the table. She had a pulmonary embolism and they couldn't evacuate it, and Doris was gone. And that was a spiritual zero. That was a spiritual zero for me. I didn't, like you said, Dave, didn't have anything to bring to the table, didn't know how to explain it to anyone else, let alone myself. Didn't know where to turn. Didn't even know what to think. Certainly couldn't lament. If I'd been able to lament, that might have helped. And it just, I was deathly afraid. That was the thing about it. I remember feeling I was so afraid, and it took me about a year to say it out loud. And I said it to 2 people in the course of kind of 2 days. 2 trusted people, Paul being one and my mom being the other. And the interesting thing is they both gave me the exact, basically word for word, the same answer. And what I finally gave voice to was I was afraid to grieve Doris, the loss of Doris, because I was afraid that if I started down that path, that I couldn't keep my faith. I was afraid that all those emotions, all those feelings, all those, why is this happening? Why did this happen? Would destroy my faith. And the perfect answer that both Paul and my mom gave me, you know, as I cried out to them, I lamented to them finally, was that, well, it's really not your faith to lose. Like, do you not think God can carry you through this, you know?
Yeah.
We're not afraid for, and they both said, we're not afraid for you. We're not afraid for your faith. You will it will survive this. And that, so about a year after she died was when I started to go through the grieving process, and it was horrendous as grieving processes are. And I still, like, last week was the anniversary of her death, and I had some of those same feelings again, that because I know that this side of heaven, I'm not going to understand that one.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm not. And I've had to come to terms with, I don't need to understand it. But for me, that was a huge spiritual zero. Now I look back on it and I say, for that year where I could basically feel nothing because I wouldn't allow myself to, I can look back now and see how God basically just carried me. He didn't need me to do anything. He held me safe for that year, and then when I was ready, and then I could start to lament, and I could start to go all those phases of grief, that then I could start to feel again and realize I had never lost him. I had never lost my faith, because he was keeping it for me. He was holding it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell the other ones just for time's sake, but I've had 2 other incidences in my life that were similar to that, different situations. And each time when I can look back, 10 years later, I can say, yeah, I didn't get it at the time, and honestly still don't get it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can live with that. I can hold that loosely.
Yeah, I really appreciate that God is bigger than us, not understanding it, and it's okay for us, maybe to like put things aside, but continuing to like, be honest and wrestle like with God a little bit, like being honest, like, I don't understand that. Like, I really appreciate, it's not like you've come to the other side, Carolyn, and you're like, yes, this is what, like, like,
yeah, no.
God has answered this. And I think for me, like, there's been things in life where it's like, I don't understand that. But I've been okay to like fight God a little bit and like, get angry with him. But for me, like, some of the spiritual zeros have been like the seemingly smaller things, but where I haven't even been willing, like, I haven't even taken that anger to God. Like, I was in a previous community, like, where I was working, it just wasn't a very good situation where things ended. And it wasn't like, there was some hurt, in our church, and it wasn't theological. It wasn't like it was like kind of like HR things, and just how in inter-office communication, and how kind of things went down. Like, I wasn't sure if I would ever like be able to work at a church again. I was like, this is just not worth it. Like, it's not worth mixing community and like and a job place. Like, this is too. But I didn't take that to God. Like, I didn't even wrestle with it. I was like, for some reason, like, that was like big life things, grieving, pain, I could take that to God.
Right.
But like, for some reason, like, the interpersonal issues of an office, I was like, that seems too big. Like how do these people, for me it was like, how is the church this broken? Like that, like, like, even within the church, with coworkers, with people who have carried each other, that we can treat each other this way. Like, is this like, is this God? Like, is this, like, the church is supposed to be the closest, like, kind of like representation, like, we're supposed to embody Christ to the world, and I am leaving feeling like this, is like, this is such a bad thing. And so for a long time, like, that really influenced my ability to connect, and it really like I felt like I was like, no, like it's not even worth it. I am better as a Christian being on my own.
Right.
Which is like not a good place to be
No.
in. Like, God, I think built us for community for a reason, but like that was just a time where I was like, it's not worth it. This is too broken.
Right. Yeah, we forget that sometimes. I think that the church is just made up of broken people.
Yeah.
In a broken world, and yeah, we expect better, but we are broken, and man, we can mess things up.
Yeah, and it was so frustrating that, like, again, like as Dave's saying, like that I couldn't do anything to
Right.
fix it, and I couldn't like rationalize it, and I couldn't
Yeah.
explain it away. But I also, yeah, I wasn't even willing to like take that hurt to God.
Right.
It took a long time to get to that point.
Yeah. Well, sometimes us humans, we're a little bit slow.
Understatement, but yes.
You know, if we just, come to God like little
Figure it out.
Well, come to God like little children, right? Like Jesus says, come to me like little children. And how often do we resist that? How often, well, I have to figure this out, or I have to get my act together, or all these things. And
Yeah. Well, hey, let's move on to the next question.
Next question. Where are you poor right now, and how might the kingdom of heaven be near amidst your poverty?
So yeah, and like we were saying on Sunday, it's maybe there is an economic poverty. Blessed are the poor, says Jesus in Luke, but there's this, we carry, I think we can all carry the imprint of poverty, no matter what our bank account says. Yeah.
For me, I'm feeling very like, and I think a lot of people like amidst the world right now are feeling, but like I'm feeling very like friend poor, like just really missing connections, and feeling like there's like having conversations with people. I find myself these days like very lonely a lot of the time, and so it's been really cool though, like having that as like an opportunity to like lean into Jesus a bit. And like that sounds a little bit like such like a church answer or like a Sunday school answer of like, well, Jesus is the answer. But in this time, like it's been a good reminder and a good kind of like recentering. Recentering. Blessed are those who are lonely. Didn't we have somebody write in a lonely beatitude, Dave?
I wrote one about physical distancing. Hang on.
Do you have the document? I thought we had a lonely one.
I'm
Maybe not.
gonna,
If not, somebody in the comments.
I'm gonna pull it up here.
Write a lonely beatitude.
yeah, I think for me, it's not being able to see people that I usually see. I have a 95-year-old grandmother who's in an extended care in Vancouver, and my practice was to try to see her every week. And of course, since this started, I can't go, no visitors can go in. And then actually last week, man, I'm just a downer today to this conversation. Last week we found out that they have deemed her palliative. And so her kids, my two uncles, my aunt, my mom can now go in and actually see her, because that's one of the things we have in BC. But as a grandchild, I can't go in and see her. And so I'm really missing just being able, I mean, there's nothing I could do for her, but I could sit with her and we could, we could sing, or I could just hold her hand, and I can't do that. And that's really weighing heavy right now for me. It's one of the reasons actually why my son and daughter-in-law brought the grandbaby this weekend, because they knew that I was feeling that heavily right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of people with parents, in extended care, and it's really hard, especially if the family member has any sort of dementia. My grandma has mild dementia, and so it's like, is she understanding why no one's coming to visit her?
Yeah.
She's very fortunate in that we had visitors, like as a family. We made sure someone was in there every day to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And now no one, now her 4 kids can go again, but that's hard.
Yeah.
Like that's hard. That makes you feel tough.
Yeah. Alicia just dropped a wicked beatitude on us. Blessed are the lonely, for they must face the true longings of their hearts.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
the
and
true
maybe
longing of our heart, which is spiritual.
Yeah, and it's spiritual, and I think it's probably, well, I'm working right now on, blessed are those who mourn, for this Sunday. And one of the points that a friend of mine preached this beatitude a little while ago, and something that he brought up was like, people tend to medicate. Like, it's like we tend to not mourn, we medicate. And even just the hustle and bustle of being with people is such an opportunity for us to medicate, to distract from things that are going on in terms of our faith journey, in terms of our mental well-being, and we can go years without confronting this stuff. So there you go.
Yep.
We're running out of time. Here, Sarah, what's our next question?
Oh, we have another one.
Yeah.
Where are you wealthy and clinging to your wealth instead of Jesus?
Oh my gosh.
Deep questions this week, Dave.
Yeah.
For me, I think this is, maybe, I don't know if it's, wealthier, but like really resonate with what you're saying, Dave, about like, being able to distract ourselves. And so like, for me, I'm really good at coming up with projects and coming up with things to distract myself. And I think you're so right. Like that is often, a distraction. And so like for me right now, it's like, like being creative, like that's obviously like that's a God-given thing. And there's, nothing inherently wrong with that. But often, I cling to that to feel okay rather than, rather than clinging to Jesus. And so that's one for me.
Yeah. I'm still stuck on this idea of control. Like for me, the wealth that I have is that I've built a life where I'm wealthy in control. Like I'm so able to direct to shape my life in the to go the ways that I want it to go, and then kids come. But I'm kind of serious, right? Because that's a wealth poverty thing where I'm rich in control in almost every area of my life, and then like kids make me poor in control, and so, but there's actually, that's something that is reshaping my character, and I hate it. but it's something that's really good for me, and that's maybe that's a blessing. Maybe that's the kingdom of heaven drawing near in a way.
Well, I'm finding that I'm working more hours than usual because I work from home, and I'm realizing that that has been, although a lot of people right now would be like, what, you get, you get to work more hours? That's great. Like you're actually, yeah, your job's still there, which is great, except I think that I'm using it as a little bit of a crutch for the same thing, distract from the fact that I don't have my usual control. Oh, do we have visitors?
Oh man, speaking of being wealthy.
Oh, yeah.
Rosie.
Rosie.
Hi, Rosie.
Say hi.
Hi, Rosie. She just woke up. Just wake up or going down?
Just woke up.
Just woke up. Yeah, I was like, that was a just woke up.
Yeah. Hi.
Last time we had a meeting, she was waving to me so much. That's even better. Hi, Rosie.
Hi, Rosie.
Green.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I am wealthy and Rosie love.
Yeah.
Hi.
You sweetie.
Hi.
We're pretty much out of time, right? It's after 12 already.
It is. Bye, Rosie.
So, thanks everyone for joining us. We will be. Oh, she's still waving and saying bye. Pretty cute. We will be live on Sunday at 10 a.m. with our live stream service. What else is going on, Sarah?
What else is going on?
Oh, we were gonna bounce that idea off of these fine people.
Oh, that idea. Yeah, I mean, we're like that idea. The one that we came up with this morning. It's such a big secret, though.
What do you guys think if we had people share their favorite quarantine recipe, and we put it in our church newsletter? Do you think that would be a cool thing?
We were thinking about like doing some featured recipes because some of us are getting tired of cooking our same things every week.
We could share it with a photo of them and a little caption. This is what I make when we go skiing or something. Some little story. What do you think? Good idea?
Great idea.
Let us know in the chat.
Would you submit a recipe? Do they have to be Mennonite? No. Not have to be Mennonite.
They can be any ethnic background.
Yeah, I think yeah, our friend Daryl brought us that idea, and we thought it could be fun.
It would be fun.
All right, we might give it a try. We'll see. Okay. Well,
any other updates that we have? I don't think so. Things are going along.
Things are going along.
Life is continuing.
Yeah. So thank you, Carolyn, for joining us.
You're
it's
welcome.
great to have you on the live stream today. And thanks everyone for joining us. And yeah, we'll see you on Sunday.
Sunday at 10, or show up at 9. We start chatting at like 9:40. So come early, make your coffee early, and join us.
All right. Thanks everyone. See ya.
Bye.